Welcome to this edition of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views Show. My name is Diane Sawyer, and I'm the president here at the Chamber. Today's guest is Cecil Cottrell with Mount Jubilee Ministries. Welcome to the show, Cecil.
Well, thank you, Diane. It's always a pleasure to see you and to be a visitor here at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, sir. And I think today we're going to talk a little bit about not only your organization, but you as an individual, how wonderful you are to us and what you mean to us. And, you know, as an ambassador, we always say our ambassadors are the heart of the Chamber, and we really do mean that. Our ambassadors stop by and check on us. As I think you called it the other day, the gift of sharing. You know, we share supplies and we share things for events and event tips, and we just celebrate news. And I'm not announcing any news for you, but you came in and shared a little tip with me about how happy you were that something happened for you. And I love to hear those things from our members, but particularly our volunteers. So thank you for what you do in the community, what you do for the Chamber, and we appreciate you.
Well, you're more than welcome. It's always been a pleasure to be a part of the Chamber of Commerce. I was honored when you asked me to be an ambassador. I was even more surprised before that happened when Denise Brady said, Cecil, after hearing your story, you really need to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And that was probably 7 years ago at this point, Diane. And without a doubt, for myself as an individual, because I love people and I love to network regardless of who I'm doing it for or with, it has without a doubt been one of the best moves that I have made and that has been made for the organization I work with, Mount Jubilee Ministries. Well,
Mount Jubilee Ministries is so near and dear to so many people, and the story has just continued to grow throughout the year. So I asked you on for an update because I think it's probably been pre-pandemic since folks have heard all the great things that are happening, and you guys just, man, you just pushed through. And I'll never forget where I was standing when I was talking to you through the pandemic. There were several phone calls that we had, and you would say, hey, I have a question. What do I do? And I would say, you know, Cecil, this is what I think you need to do, but if it doesn't go the right way, call me back, but this is what I would do. And I just remember us having conversations, and I was pacing, because that's what I do when I'm talking to somebody, and we were at home, and so I was pacing on my deck outside, listening to you talk about, well, this is kind of what's happening right now, and we kind of had to stop our day program, and we had just launched, and now we're going to do this. So there's just, it blows my mind to be sitting here in this spring, going close to summer of 2022, thinking about all that you've accomplished since those 7 years that you've joined the Chamber. So tell us about your organization for folks who don't know, and then tell us about where we are and what we're doing.
Well, I'm happy to do that, but I do want to just pause real quick and say thank you for helping not just me at Mount Jubilee Ministries, but many, many, many people within our community navigate an unprecedented pandemic.
You're gonna make me cry.
Well, you were there when people needed us, when people needed you, and you knew what you were doing. If you didn't know what you were doing, you could find out really quickly, and you were able to really help a lot of people navigate successfully the pandemic, us being one. And just a little bit about Mount Jubilee Ministries. We're a Christ-centered nonprofit, and our mission is to partner with the teen and adult special needs population, those folks with intellectual developmental disabilities. That's a population that's always been near and dear to my heart, and as the Lord would have it, He opened up the door for me to become involved with this nonprofit about 7 or 8 years ago. And we had been a camp ministry for 8 years prior to me coming on board, and when I took on a leadership role with the organization, we began to try to figure out a direction to go to where we could offer more services, more programs to the population and to their families. And with that said, we thought day programming would be an excellent opportunity. Many people are not aware of this, but when someone with special needs graduates from high school, they end up going home. Most of the typical population that graduates, they've either got a job waiting for them or additional education that they want to pursue, and they head on into life and do what they would do. But for the special needs population, unfortunately, there are not a lot of opportunities for them. And Mount Jubilee Ministries just felt like we could do something about that, and we began planning to launch a day program, and we did so here in Reidsville in December of 19, and that of course was 3 or 4 months prior to the pandemic. We immediately shut down with the rest of the country and world, if you will, and we were able to relaunch the Reidsville Day Program. It's called His Path Developmental Day Program in April of last year. By that time, we had on board Jenna Moore, our program director, who was just phenomenal in developing the program and launching it. We've got Angelica Vallada and Lizzie Stevens working as program coordinators, and they are just awesome. We've got an incredible staff. We not only relaunched the Reidsville program, Diane, but in the summer of 2021, last year, we were invited over into Forsyth County to navigate that area and see what we could come up with, and we were able to successfully launch His Path Forsyth County at New Philadelphia Moravian Church over in Winston. And both the Reidsville program, which operates out of the Mission First building here on Scale Street in Reidsville, and the Winston program are both flourishing. It's just incredible.
So let's go back, and we're going to revisit a couple things that you said. Let's start with camp.
All right.
Tell us about camp, because it's almost time.
Yeah.
And is that where sort of the humble beginnings, let's call it?
Sure.
Tell us about camp and what that experience is like, and how that grew this community's love for this population and the need to present those opportunities for them.
Okay. And opportunity is just the right word, Diane. Again, the special needs population is not, unfortunately, afforded all the opportunities that the typical child or young adult might be offered. And that was the humble beginnings, as you mentioned, of Mount Jubilee Ministries in 2005. Camp Jubilee started with 5 campers and 6 volunteers. I always love to tell that story. We take a lot of pride in our staff and our counselors, all volunteer counselors and staff at Camp Jubilee, and we try to have that one-on-one ratio. We want to buddy up with the campers and just really allow them to let their hair down and enjoy a week of horseback riding, archery, canoeing, swimming, and probably best of all, the theatrical Bible stories that take place twice a day from our founders of the organization, Andy and Loretta Burgess. They've been with us for 17 years now, each summer, and the campers literally love them to death. And the praise and worship that takes place prior to the stories twice a day is, it warms your heart like nothing else can possibly do. We're thrilled to have Peter and Emily Dodge and their children coming out last summer, and then they've committed again for this summer to lead that praise and worship. And that's just one of the highlights of our year. But more importantly, it's the highlight of every camper's year. They love it. And we've got 48 campers committed each year. That's our maximum at Betsy Jeff Penn 4-H Center here in wonderful Rockingham County, Reidsville. The staff there, Stacy Burns and Caleb, they are just incredible and have warmly welcomed us and grown to love our campers and support us in so many valuable ways. So It's an incredible week.
It's an incredible journey. And it's really funny. You brought up Andy and Loretta, and that's what I was thinking about. The Lord really ties things together in a very interesting way. And this starts off for me when in 2011, I came to the chamber as a 29-year-old, trying to help lead an organization that needed some life. And right there, when I was stressed out, we always eat cake. And we do, and it's something this staff has done since I came. And we eat cake, and it started because we would go across the street to see Loretta and see what she had baked up for the day, and get a slice of cake. And it was so heavenly, and that's where I first heard about Camp Jubilee, because they had their little setup where their friends would come and they would play cards and they would hang out and they would chit chat, and that's where I first heard about the plans and the things that were happening. Fast forward to moving to this building, and Denise suggesting to you to be a member, and it's just crazy how all of it has come together and worked. So much so that we had a ribbon cutting a few weeks ago that was very delayed, obviously, but we still celebrated. So all of that ties together, and then camp, and then what you've built on camp. Tell me about, you mentioned Jenna, and you mentioned these other staffers, and I'll never forget, like, you coming in here to the chamber and saying, Diane, I got this email. And this person, and like there was always a story about how somebody landed in your lap, how the Lord brought someone to you through someone, and there was an email, and there was this, and it ping-ponged around, and the next thing you know, like, you've got this phenomenal staff, and it ties all the way to this meeting that we had at RCC to talk about opportunities for this special population, to give them jobs, to work with these businesses. And Jenna did this wonderful job of representing your organization and representing his path and representing all of your folks. And it blows me away how it all comes together.
Right.
And you've got big plans.
Sure.
And you've got some big fundraisers and things that you do. Tell us about what your big plans are, and then how you plan to make that stuff happen.
Sure. Well, I just cannot sing Jenna's praises enough, and the rest of our staff, from the coordinators to the support staff of the day programs to our administrative staff. Interestingly, as we're sitting here right now, I'm thinking about 4 or 5 additional staffers that are coming on this summer, which is incredible. We've got a good marketing and communications crew that works together virtually, and it's just been an amazing team effort to build things and to build a solid foundation, and I think that's the best thing that we can say, is the foundation is very solid to continue to grow. And you of course mentioned fundraising. Of course, with any nonprofit, that's a key element of success and survival and sustainability, and we have been so fortunate to host the Family Fun Walk, and this summer on September 10th will be our 7th annual Family Fun Walk. We started out with what I thought was an incredibly large goal of $30,000 in 2016, and we reached and exceeded that goal. In 2016, we have reached and exceeded our goal each year since 2016, bringing us to a new goal of $100,000 for 2022. And I will share the little with the audience, the little news that I shared with you just walking in the door is that we did just secure our first event sponsor of $10,000 this morning. So it was a very nice Friday morning. Yay!
Yay!
So that event is our signature fundraising event, and it has been supported by the people of Reidsville and Rockingham County in a way that is just amazing. It's not been foundation money. It's not been government money. It has been the $5 and $10s and $50s and $100s and $1,000 from hundreds of people throughout Reidsville and Rockingham County that have supported Mount Jubilee Ministries in this amazing way through this signature fundraising event. You mentioned future plans, Diane, and it's nobody's secret that from the very inception of Mount Jubilee Ministries in 2005, there was always the vision of a residential community. And while that was not on the front burner for a lot of years because of camp and because of foundation building, I'm happy to say that it's very much on the front burner of Mount Jubilee Ministries' existence today. We are going into a planning session with a wonderful organization out of Raleigh who has their roots from Rockingham County, Jim Dobson. He's the son of the former pastor and the Dotsons from Community Baptist. He is the executive director of Mission Triangle, a nonprofit in Raleigh that exists to make other Christ-centered nonprofits successful. And we are partnering with one of their consultants here in the next 3 or 4 weeks to develop a real solid 1, 3, and 5-year plan, which will be the final leg of preparing to launch a capital campaign for a residential community. We are really excited about that. We've got an ongoing search right now for the right property to put that on and what it's going to look like. But the goal that the board has unanimously agreed to is a residential program in Rockingham County with an agricultural overture to it. And we are just really excited about what the Lord has in store for that project.
So there's so much to be said about that and the roots of Rockingham County and Reidsville and the history and the plans for that and how it's going to tie it all together. But I find it curious that sometimes I don't even think that you see it. I mean, do you know why all these people support you with those 5s and 10s and 15s and 20s and thousands? Do you know why? I don't know if you know why.
Well, I'd like to hear your take on why.
My version of why is because of why we're sitting right here. You are so passionate about these folks, and they are so special to you, and this dream lives through your ability to tell their story and to tell the history, and no matter how much it cost you physically, how much it costs you mentally, emotionally, what it takes, you catch your little trips that you can go see the grandchildren, and you get on the plane and you fly, and then you spend your time, and then you get right back. And you are so passionate about what you're doing, and you have allowed the Lord to use you as a vessel to make these things happen. And it's just so special. I don't know that anybody can touch the story or the special way that you bring it to life. And that's why people support Mountain Jubilee. They might not even believe or thought they believed in the idea of what you're doing was important. But it doesn't take but just a few minutes for them to think, oh, I've got to be a part of this. Right. I want to be a part of this. Right. And it's just so refreshing to hear the story, to hear the plans. And, you came in and I jokingly with you said, oh, I'm jealous of your event sponsor. Because in the nonprofit world, money is huge. Fundraising is huge. And we've just come through a global pandemic. There are some nonprofits who are not doing so well, who've not been able to have their signature fundraisers, who've not been able to raise that kind of money. And you guys just did it, and you just continue to do it. And it's amazing, Cecil. Yeah. And you have an amazing board. And I remember these pieces, like you would come in and be like, oh, we've got this fabulous grant writer, or oh, we have this consultant, or oh, we have this board member, or oh, we have this person. And there were just all these things that, whether or not in nonprofit world, some of those relationships come quickly, they go quickly, they don't always end on great notes. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but it still got you to where you are, right? And it got you to the next piece. It made you think about, I've experienced that in my world, in the two nonprofits I've worked for. There are going to be times, because nonprofits are nothing but relationships and a community calls, right? Right. So you just do a phenomenal job of bringing all the right people together. You really do.
Well, I cannot say enough about all of those right people. From the very beginning, the Lord has come alongside of us and put the right people in place at the right time for the next step. And it has been each board over the last 7 or 8 years. It's been each board since the foundation of the organization. It's been each volunteer. It's been each donor. And sure, passion is so important. There's no question about that. But the reality is, when you center things around Christ and when you put Him first and do things for His glory, it's going to be successful. And that's what our goal at Mount Jubilee Ministries is to always put Christ in the forefront and to bring as much glory to Him and who He is than who we are. So it's just, the credit goes to everyone.
Yeah, and for believers, I think it goes back to the servant mentality. Sure. And you're washing their feet, right?
Absolutely.
And you're doing all those things that make it possible for them to live a better quality of life than what they previously had. And I just think it's amazing.
Well, that's what it's all about. We want to be there to support the person and to support their family, to help them have the most productive, the most exciting, the most rewarding life that they possibly can have.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last thing that I want to say, a point to make, is that you guys are also a chamber champion, and chamber champions are what really makes up the great pieces of the chamber, from supporting us in a way that allows us to give back too, right? The Chamber Champ supporting us gives us the opportunity to do things like our show, and gives us the ability to tell the stories of our members and of our community. And I think it's phenomenal. We are running out of time, Cecil. So is there anything else, I guess, on today's show that you would like to tell us about?
Diane, I think we've covered it all. You're throwing it back in my lap, but this has been an amazing sit down. It's been an amazing conversation, and I really appreciate you taking the time to spotlight Mount Jubilee Ministries.
Well, I appreciate all that you do, and your servant heart makes it so easy to come alongside with whatever it is that you're doing and leading and telling us about. So I appreciate that. And it has been an amazing conversation, and that's what we want this to be about, is you being able to tell your story and people to hear about it. And so if people were looking to get in touch with you, how could they do so?
Well, easily go to mountjubilee.org is our website. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And
you've confused me now, but yes, yeah. I think so.
Or Cecil at mountjubilee.org is my direct email, or you could call 336-552-3766, and I'm always happy to tell anybody that wants to know anything about Mount Jubilee Ministries what's going on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show today, and coming on and just telling your story and the camp story and Mount Jubilee story. And we're looking forward to the exciting things that are going to happen in the future. Maybe one day we'll be out in the residential community interviewing and talking about it.
That will be very exciting, and we look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, that is it for today's Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. We are so thankful to have had Cecil Cottrell with us. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street. You can find us at reidsvillechamber.org and on all of our social media accounts. And we'll see you real soon.